What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Backpacking Podcast, brought to you by Outdoor Vitals. For myself, John Kelly, I'm here with my good friend, Jeremiah Stringer, the king of Kentucky backpacking. Jeremiah, how are we doing this fine Monday evening?
Doing fantastic, man. We are blasting Monday Night Football out of the water right now in ratings and viewership. Welcome, everybody, to the show.
Yes, Joe Rogan called the other day and was just kind of asking for tips and pointers, and I just told him, I said, you need to be more authentic, and he said, it's good advice. And so if you're watching, if you're a big Joe Rogan fan, you notice that he's saying more honest things, because he's never very honest on his show. But if he's getting more honest, it's because of a conversation we had. So,
well, I disagree with John. I think he's very honest. I am a big fan. And Joe Rogan, if you're listening to this, would love to talk to you. By the way, I also wanted to add from our title sponsor, Outdoor Vitals, I have right here the killer of the Ghost Whisperer jacket. That mountain hardware jacket, this right here, the Nova UL jacket made by Outdoor Vitals. This right here.
Sweet jacket, man. Sweet jacket.
Yeah, dude, my Ghost Whisperer, it is dead. It is no longer puffy. It is puffed out, and this is my new winter jacket. They just had a huge Black Friday sale. You can check on outdoorvitals.com and see what they still have in stock for their inventory. The holiday sales are here for us, so everybody get on there and get you some winter gear.
Yeah, and I know for a fact that Jeremiah has never been a fan of the Ghost Whisperer jacket. I remember when he bought that thing, was all excited about getting it because it was the big time UL jacket, and then he gets it on and he's like, it's not even warm.
I was wearing it around the house for about a week like a hoodie. Yeah, and also it was like $300 or $400. So you don't have to worry about that, though. You're not going to pay those prices if you go to outdoorvitals.com.
Yeah, and one of the best things about Outdoor Vitals, it is a direct-to-consumer business, which means there's no middleman, which means they don't have to charge what the Outdoor Research's, Mountain Hardware's, and Patagonia's charge. So that's pretty cool. So Jeremiah, we have a really, really good guest today. I have to do something here.
What is going on here?
Ben McMillan said my microphone is what's in focus, not my face. So hopefully that changed it.
Oh, okay.
So,
professionals here.
If there's one thing we've never claimed to be, it's professionals. And that was the other thing I told Joe. I said, Joe needs to quit being so professional in his podcast. If he would just take things a little more lighthearted, But anyways, that has nothing to do with what we're talking about tonight. Tonight, we have a fantastic guest, Jeremiah, a fantastic guest, a guy who we've known about before he even had a YouTube channel, a guy who, oddly enough, we lived in the same town for 4 years and never met. And we even hung out with similar people.
Yeah.
How does that work?
The people that we hung out with actually introduced you and I.
That's right.
Believe it or not. What a small world we live in.
It is so crazy, and we are excited to have Mr. Gordon Crum with us, Grim Granite himself. How's it going, man?
What an applause. It's going great, guys. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Yeah, our pleasure, man. Great to
have
you here.
Intro. That was some build up. I mean, I don't know where we go from here, but
well, basically, when we have high class guests on, we have to give a high class intro. So, so we had to do it, And here's the thing, man. People are on here talking about the Joe Rogan podcast, and one of my favorite comments is right here. It's redundant. Who says Rogan doesn't even have poop stories? So, I mean, if that doesn't tell you,
not yet. I mean, next week they will. Yep.
That's right. And guys, if you want to leave comments tonight on all the reasons why we are better than Joe Rogan, just go ahead and leave those comments tonight. We would love to see your comments, and the more ridiculous, the better chance it's actually going to get on the screen. So with that said, okay, let's talk a little bit about you, Gordon. You're from Kenosha, Wisconsin. Is that right?
Yep. We like to call it Kenowhere. Yep.
Kenowhere. Yes. K-Town. K-Town as it is.
K-Town. K-Town.
Now, I first found out about
I live
you.
in Milwaukee, though. But yes.
Milwaukee?
Milwaukee.
So I found out about you from Dan Becker years ago because Dan was trying to figure out how to be able to do his trips, make his videos, produce everything. And he said, I'm going to hire somebody. And he says, I got this guy. I'm going to try him out. And he said his name was Gordon. And that's all I knew. Like, we had been texting, and he tells me about this guy, Gordon.
Yep.
And then he does a video with you out in a shelter. I'm not sure exactly where it was. I know it's one of the. It was in a shelter somewhere, and you were showing him how to stay warm in the wintertime, I think.
Oh,
how to survive in the cold.
I do remember that. Yeah. Yeah, there's like the Kewaskum shelter or Greenbush shelter up by us, like on the Ice Age Trail. Yeah.
Yeah, the Ice Age Trail. That's what it was. Fun. Yeah. So that was kind of the beginning of it all. So when was it you realized you needed to lose the dead weight and do your own channel?
Oh, man.
The dead weight.
I just wanted to see if you'd go with it. But no, we love Dan. We just like give him a hard time. But yeah, like what?
It's great. He's great.
Now, we did find out something.
I enjoyed every single moment of working with Dan, working for Dan. He is hilarious. He's a good guy to work for. Just a great guy. But like, there's always that insatiable hunger that you have as an artist, as a creator, that you just have to make stuff. And I just felt like I really had to make stuff. So
that's awesome.
I just started talking to him about it. I'm like, you know what? I think that I'd really like to get out on my own. And he's like, oh, you absolutely should. And he just absolutely set me up on the right path to do that. So huge thanks to him for that. Very generous in that way.
Well, and that's mostly due to the fact that you guys have known each other forever, and you were in a country band together at one point. Is this correct?
Well, yeah, I would fill in for him in his country band. Not fill in for him. He's a drummer. I'm a bass player. But there was a time. We played a lot of music together over the years.
Yeah. We actually have a picture of Dan from back in 2016 from when you guys were playing together. Yeah. I think we need to show everybody that. What do you think, Jeremiah?
Oh, let's see that. We got to see Babyface again. Oh my goodness.
2016, Dan playing for Tombow Road, who is the most popular country band in Kenosha, Wisconsin, if I'm not mistaken.
So good. Yeah. Well, he looked like he was a metal player in that photo. He was pretty angry looking in that photo. But no, he's an incredible drummer.
Yeah, I've actually heard some of his stuff. I mean, he really, like, it's not something he talks about on his channel, but Dan is a very talented drummer.
Let me tell you, if you ever get a chance to see his calves, look at his calves. He has gigantic calf muscles because he can do the drums,
that gets a little too personal for me. I don't know if I can look at Dan's calves or not.
I wanted to make you uncomfortable.
Well, I appreciate that.
That was the goal.
Yep. I wonder if he's got like one really big calf and then the other one is normal size because he plays bass with one foot the whole time and then snare with the other.
Yeah, his kick foot.
Let's find out.
Yeah, we'll have to text him.
Let's make that a poll on the podcast for this week. Does Dan Becker have one swole calf and one average calf?
Yeah, we'll have to clip this
and just see what everybody's responses are. We are getting Joe Rogan comments, by the way.
Oh my goodness,
Doc Watson. Joe doesn't have a beard. Riff Outdoors. Joe's afraid to be outside. This is my favorite one. Joe Rogan wishes he could get a GoNext sponsorship.
A little inside joke for
and Mr. Backpacking with Jason Sir says Joe Rogan hasn't done the Vermont Long Trail and Kilimanjaro.
Oh no, that is true. Yeah,
we got him on that, man. Although you know what, he may have done Kilimanjaro. That guy's done so much stuff.
No, I don't think he's done it, man.
Yeah.
Now, we were talking about the editing and stuff for Dan. Like, you've done a lot of video production and content creation with him, and I want to run something by you here. So
yeah,
just you have a lot of experience with this. Let me see. Your YouTube channel is Grim Granite, GRIM, Grim Granite, and you have over 200 videos and nearly 200,000 subscribers. And so I'm wanting to run something by you. I've been doing YouTube since like 2018, and it's kind of taken a back seat because we had a son in July, and I've been trying to be a good father. So something had to give, and a lot of my time has been dedicated to family. So I'm wanting to know, what do you think about this idea? So I have I've done the Camino de Santiago the summer of 2023, and I videoed the whole thing, and I got like 1,000 clips, and I've started the first video, and I have ideas for chapters tell the story of the trip, like 3 chapters, and then like a little wrap up short 4th video. So I'm
Very
thinking
cool.
about not to get too far into the weeds, but maybe they can get a little behind the scenes here from us, get a little entertainment. But my idea is paying a subscription to one of these AI editors and uploading all those clips and letting it make a story out of it. I was wanting to know, do you have
Oh,
any experience with anything like that? Because I've been doing research on it, and it can be
yeah.
really, really expensive, but it looks like you do a good job.
Interesting. I don't know much about the AI editing world. I do not. I haven't even heard of people doing that with much success yet. I'm sure that it is a thing. I'm sure that's going to continue to be a thing for sure. But I do know that like AI still has a long way to go with storytelling in a very to bring the humanity into it. You know what I mean? To make a real human connection is still very difficult for AI to do. So they can tell you a very like logical story, factual story. But I think if you're going to try to have something with nuance to it, you're going to have to involve a human at some point.
Yeah, as I was doing the research and trying to figure out how I want to do it and try to outsource some of it, because I just don't have the time to go through all that right now.
Right.
It was looking to me like running it through and getting a rough draft with the AI, and then either human editing it or increasing the inputs to get more of an output that you want. Of course, I've been
That's
editing
cool.
my own videos for years, so I could do it, but like basically tailor it up like a good suit.
Yeah.
You buy it
Yeah.
from the
Yeah.
factory,
Yeah. Yeah.
but kind of tape it,
Then touch it
tape
up.
it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yep. I think it's great. I think it's great to collaborate with an AI to get some of that workload off of you. Yeah, if you can, that's a good idea. It's a good idea. Yeah.
And what do you think, John?
I've been using AI for over a year and a half now for different things, and it really, what you get out of AI is what you put into it. The more info you give it, the better input you get or output you get from it. So, if you know how to talk to it, you can get the desired output that you want. So, at least that's what I've learned over the last year. It can be real tricky. You can get stuff and you're going, "Where did this come from?" But if you put in the right stuff, you can get some really cool things out of it. So it could work. I do use for a podcast that I do for our videos. I use an AI multicam program that actually flips between the different cameras as long as the audio sources are different. So, which cuts down probably 5 hours of editing time from a 35-minute to an hour video, where it does all of the cutting for me. Ben McMillan actually says that I am AI. So, I mean, there's that fact. We can just throw that up there for everybody to see.
I was looking
So,
up some of the tools today, and the AI, there's so many features it can do. Like, if you did a talking head video, you can just upload the clip and it'll take out all the ums, all the dead space, all of the
Yeah.
mistakes, and it'll edit that whole thing for you.
Pretty
And
awesome.
like if you're not looking at the camera, like right now I'm looking to my left of the camera, so it looks kind of weird because I'm actually talking to you
It'll like
guys.
track your eyes and put
yeah.
new eyes
Yeah,
on you. Yeah,
it'll
it's
put your
so
eyes
fun.
back where there's, and I was like, man, that is so weird. But in 10
I'm not
years,
into that stuff, man. That's a little creepy to me.
Does
That's a
John
little
have
creepy.
hands? I mean, like AI, the biggest test is the hands. I mean, let me see your hands. They look good to
yeah,
me. I think he's real. I think he's real,
he had
folks.
Yeah, I
eight
don't have
fingers
7
on
fingers. I don't have 7 fingers. When they move, they don't meld into each other. Oh wait, no, I'm kidding. So
well, another thing I was wanting to ask you about, how did you even know, we talked about Dan and you being content creation and everything. AI generates Jeremiah's beard back. I just trimmed it like an hour ago. No joke. AI could bring it back. But I was wondering, how do you even know how to keep Dan warm by a fire? Where did you learn those skills, and what's pushing you to teach other people?
specifically Dan, how do you keep Dan warm by
Specific-
a fire?
Well, that was the example. To be fair, that was the example that John used from the
Gordon's on here
video.
going, is this even about me at this point? Is this just
It's
all
the
about Dan
struggle
Becker?
snuggle.
This whole thing's
Yeah.
about Dan Becker.
No. It's yeah. So, anyways, in my past life, I was a survival instructor for kids. So I was in a paramilitary program called Royal Rangers a long time ago, and I grew up in that program. learned a bunch of wilderness skills, and went through an academy. And then after that academy, I was actually taught how to, teach kids how to not die in the wilderness. So they let me go out and take kids out for like a week at a time, right? And teach them how to survive in the wilderness, find food, make shelter, do search and rescue drills, all that kind of fun stuff. So that was like where it all started for me. And then after that, I kept going back year after year to serve at that camp, and then just fell in love with going out by myself, going solo. So I've done a lot of solo wilderness trips on my own. So yeah, it's just it's a hobby. It's a fun thing for me to do.
Okay, I'm wanting to know more about the solo trips, but before we get
Yeah,
there, there has to be some ridiculous situations that you got into showing these kids how to survive. Do you have any
for sure.
good stories or memories or anything that comes to mind? Past
Yeah,
experiences you're taking these kids out and trying to keep
sure.
them from
Yeah.
dying. It's hard enough at home to keep them from dying. What was it like
Oh
in the
my
woods?
goodness. Well, I mean, I have a personal story which I'll tell, but one of the stories that I had was one of these kids. He had one of these big survival knives. He came to camp with one of these big survival knives. He thought it was so cool, and so he was hacking some twine off of a tree, and I watched him as he's holding the twine and he's hacking away at it, and he got out of sync and he got his finger in the way and took his finger right off, and it was dangling by some flesh, just
Oh
spurting.
my.
So that was a fun survival first aid training in real life. But yeah, there's been injuries, but that one was nasty. That was nasty for
Okay, let's
sure.
talk about this one specifically for a couple minutes, okay? So tell me what were the circumstances surrounding this? It's you, I assume
Yeah,
there's a few of you guys and you all have these kids and you're teaching them at a
yeah,
campground or taking them out to the woods or what? So
yep.
what was the circumstances surrounding it?
Yeah. So there's in each camp there's probably about uh, 40 kids, 2-man teams. They split off and we send them off into the woods to make a shelter and survive for a week. And we have these classes where they all come back. Well, this kid was back for a class, and he was probably about 14, 15 years old, and he had this knife that he was very proud of. Most kids would bring like a smaller knife, more reasonable size knife, but this kid has like a Spec Plus Air Force survival knife or something like that. And yeah, he was trying to get some twine off of a tree. It was tied around it, and he was just like hacking away at it, and then just got himself out of sync and whacked his hand, and
Oh,
just took his finger off just like that.
And what'd you
And
do?
wow, just went over there. It's amazing like how calm you can be when you need to be. And so I just went over there and we applied pressure to his wrist, you know, wrapped it up tight and just held it as hard as we could, keep him from bleeding, and then got him in a car and do the 30-minute trip to the hospital. Yeah.
yeah.
And did they
Rod
reattach the
Outdoors
finger?
isn't being very empathetic here. He's flat out saying, let me pull this up so people can actually read it. He put rub some dirt on it, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
So
Oh, that's
it
tough.
figures that that's what he's doing. So yeah.
Yeah. It was the end of the camp experience for him, unfortunately. But we all learned a really important lesson that day.
Yeah,
Good
did
night.
they reattach his finger? Did he live on to have a normal life?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little messed up, but it was savable.
Wow.
So
Well, must have been a
yeah,
clean
and
cut.
my own personal story was before I had gone through this sort of like formal training and all this stuff. I was about 14 years old myself. I went out with a friend of mine in March in Wisconsin, and we were going to do our own survival camp. So we got a whole bunch of like gear together, and we whatever we thought would be the best, And it was like 50 degrees during the day, and then it was going to get down to like 35 at night or something like that. So we went out, built a shelter out of like swamp grass and sticks, and it was really awesome. And we had taken a rabbit out with us, so we butchered the rabbit. We put that sucker on a spit, roasting this rabbit. We were just like, it was great. Unfortunately, though, we didn't have enough firewood laid up for the night, and an ember caught on our shelter and burned our entire shelter down because it was just made of flammable like swamp grass. So we have like no shelter. We're going into the night with no fire,
Oh my
and we've
gosh.
just eaten we just eaten a bunch of rabbit that we didn't cook well enough. Didn't know that yet, and we are just freezing cold at this point. We don't have any outdoor vitals gear with us. This is a long time ago. So here we go. Settle down for the night, shivering like crazy. Didn't think about it. Just rolled a rock out of the fire, huddled up next to a big rock, trying to stay warm. Unfortunately, the shivering stopped and I passed out. And the next thing I know, I was waking up, vomiting everywhere. My dad had a bad feeling at 3 o'clock in the morning, then came out to check on us. And we were both in late stage hypothermia. We were just passed out. So he was able to get us,
Oh my
wakened
goodness.
up and revived. And we were in really rough shape. But that's where like kind of like the love for this whole thing kind of started, because
I
I
almost
wanted to do
died.
it right after that. Yeah,
Like,
I almost
I
died.
almost
wanted to do
died.
it right
Now I love it.
Right. Yeah.
And truthful, in all seriousness, I'm the same way, man. Like, my first real backpacking was 4 straight days in torrential downpours. Everything was soaked. I was wet and cold every single night. And after the 4 days were done, I was like, how can we get back out there?
Yeah.
And it didn't make any sense to me, but I was like, I'm hooked on this somehow. I got to get back out. And hearing you, I'm like, I get it. Like 100% I get it.
Type 2 fun.
Type 2 fun. Sometimes, in your case, type 3.
Yeah.
I mean, you're pushing death. That could be type 3, I think, at that point.
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah.
hypothermia.
Y'all
It wasn't even below freezing at all. It was just like 35, maybe 40 degrees. Doesn't have to be. We were just that cold. Contact with the ground and everything. Yeah.
Wow.
No bueno.
You're going to pull a rock out of the fire. Like I've seen on survival shows and stuff, they'll put rocks in there and then they'll bury them so many inches deep and then lay on top of them. Were you doing something like that, or what? You just pulled a scalding hot rock out of the fire and then just like cuddled up with it? How did that work?
Yeah, so we had some stones about this big around, some field stones, and we had them around the fire. So they weren't like crazy hot, but they were really warm. And that's a lot of stored up energy in that rock, So I knew enough to like pull one of those over and just kind of cuddle up with it. And that kept me going for at least an hour. But then my core temperature couldn't keep up after that. It just dropped like a rock. Just
like a
being
rock.
in contact with the ground. No sleeping bag. Come on, don't do that, right? So
man.
Wow.
Well, at least you're here to talk about it today, so that's a good sign.
Yep.
That's a
Let
good
me ask you one more dumb question about this rock. So how do you know which one how do you know which ones are gonna like explode in the fire and which one is gonna crack? Which one is gonna be
Great
fine?
question.
People build fire rings all the time.
I saw a kid put a brick, like a red brick, into a fire ring one time, and it exploded because it had too much moisture in it, and it cut him in the face. Any river rocks, if you're by a river or if you're like pulling them out of wet soil, if they're porous rocks, they're going to explode, because like if you get them in there and they heat up too fast, the water vapor in them creates a ton of pressure and it just turns them into a frag grenade, basically.
Yeah.
So make your rock selection.
It's shrapnel, man. It's shrapnel when that thing blows up. It's not good.
It really is.
It's not good. So here's a good point that Chicken Little Trex makes. You would think with a burning shelter it would be warm.
Yeah, it'll be warm for like 30 seconds. We watched in horror as it just consumed all of the grass, the field grass. So,
oh my goodness,
swamp grass. We learned a lot.
Yeah, I would say so.
What would you say your confidence level is then if I were to just turn you loose in the backwoods of Wisconsin and said, all right, we're going to pick you up in a month, brother. Here's a 22 and some ammo. Here's a lighter, tarp, some duct tape, a knife. You go be you. It's mid-March, Wisconsin. What do you think?
I think it'd be uncomfortable. I think it'd be fun. It's really, I like to say it's hard to be very sure of your own, of what nature will do. You don't want to be too cocky going out there. You try to do your best to be prepared skills wise, be practiced up on all these things, because you lose it over time. But really, you got to be respectful of nature and not be too cocky, because you'll get it. Something else
Yeah.
will take you by surprise. Yeah.
We have a few more Joe Rogan comments I want to get up here. There's only
Oh,
3 more left, but I
good.
want to make sure these get up here. Sean R says it's because Jeremiah's prettier than Joe, not pretty, but just in comparison. So, Chicken Little Trek said Joe Rogan equals Go Next, backpacking podcast equals outdoor vitals. Check that one out. I like that. And Doc Watson said, I think Jeremiah walked the long trail backwards. So, and then one last one here, just a shout out to David Cooper. He said, I actually caught the podcast stream live. Good evening, fellas. Welcome, Mr. Cooper. We're glad to have you on tonight, man. Thanks for tuning in. So, Gordon, let's keep going with some of this, some of the bushcraft stuff. Do you do this a lot now? Is this something that like happens on? And by the way, I disappeared for a little bit. I know somebody made a comment that I disappeared on the video. I'll tell that story at the end after we're done, but there was a reason why I was out. So if this question's been asked, just tell me, John, you're being stupid. You didn't hear it. So, but talk about something else. But do you do a lot of bushcrafting right now?
I do about as much as I have time for. Yeah. So I go out, I try to go out between 2 to 3 times a month for campouts, just like overnights or 2-day camps, just to do videos and whatnot. And I'm trying to integrate more and more of my bushcraft stuff into that, just because it is fun. But the challenge is really the location. You got to find a location that's like friendly to that, whether you have private property that you can do it on, but you really can't do a whole lot of like felling of trees in a national park. They're not down for that. So
Right.
It's one of those things. It's not a very like leave no trace. It can be leave no trace, but you have to be very, very careful with what materials you're harvesting, right, from the land.
Right.
A lot of people will just go out and start hacking down green trees all over the left and right, and they'll just defoliate an area just for a good weekend. And I don't know, that's kind of a bummer.
Actually, it's funny you say that. It really is funny you say that, because I took a group of high school and middle school boys from our trail life troop out backpacking, I guess it was a week ago, and maybe a week and a half ago. And one of the boys, we get to the trailhead, and he sees this tree that's about the perfect size for a walking stick, and he starts cutting the tree down right at the trailhead. And I'm like,
right.
No. Don't do that. And he just kind of looked at me funny. I was like, you can't just be chopping trees down, man. Like,
right.
Don't do that. And it was funny because we just had a ranger at the trailhead right before he did that. So I was like, buddy,
man.
if that ranger had been there, you could have been in trouble. And he was just so confused as to why is that a big deal? And so we had to have a little educational moment. So you saying that I get that, man. I 100% get that.
Yeah, you see a lot of these YouTube videos of like bushcraft, people going out and doing stuff, and you're really looking at it, and you're like, wow, that's a lot of green. It's a lot of green wood that they're taking down to do this, just to make a video. So,
well, and for some of them, they're doing it on their own property, which is a little different.
Yeah,
very few of them. I found most of them it is their own property, because they can't do that on public property. So,
right. It's just it's something that people probably aren't talking about quite enough of is let's do this the right way.
Right. Now,
there's a way to do it. Yep.
So Jeremiah wrote this question, but I'm going to ask it just because he wrote it down. I'm going to steal it from him. So was it bushcrafting that got you into backpacking, or did backpacking get you into bushcrafting? Or are they completely unrelated?
It's just funny to me, the labels aren't really labels for me. They are just, it's all under the umbrella of camping for me, because of the way I grew up. I've been doing bushcrafting stuff before bushcrafting was a term, in the 90s. And it was like, that's just camping. That's just going outside and playing around. And then like backpacking to me is like, if I need to get somewhere more than a mile, I need to have lightweight gear. And if I need to go 5 miles, I have terrible knees, I'm going to need ultralight gear. So it's like, for me, it's very practical. Just use the gear that you need to get where you need to go. So I guess bushcrafting got me into backpacking, because as some of these materials have gotten better, technical fabrics, really amazing designs, it's just super exciting to be doing this stuff right now in this point in human history. So
Yeah.
So do you still subscribe to the notion of two is one, one is none? Because I know that's pretty popular. And why don't you tell everybody what bushcrafting is, by
yeah,
the way? Because some listeners, they might have
sure.
heard this term, but don't exactly
Yeah,
know what that label means.
my understanding of what bushcrafting means is, Morse Kahansky was like the father of bushcrafting. He's this guy who um, would teach forest skills, like how to survive in the forest, how to make your own furniture, utensils, shelters, backpacks, all this kind of stuff. It's a skill set that is mostly revolving around the use of knives, axes, saws, hatchets, and materials like wood, canvas, natural fiber rope, things like that. So it's just making all this equipment, learning how to do this stuff with almost nothing, with almost no money spent. It's just it's a fun thing to do, and you can definitely go out like I do with really nice, like, sleeping pad, sleeping bag, so you're gonna have a good night's sleep. But then build a really cool shelter, like I did last weekend. I built a platform shelter up in the trees, and I'm putting out that video this weekend. But it's just fun to do, right? Just fun to
Yeah.
do.
That's pretty cool,
Yeah.
man.
So
One of our listeners actually put up a great name for what we should call this from now on. Outdoorism.
I love
nah,
that. Man, that's great.
I think that's great.
That's
I think that's a
great.
great title for it. Like, just being outside. I was just talking to Jeremiah before
Yeah.
we got online. This last weekend I was backpacking. On Saturday I'm going duck hunting, and when I get back, I'm taking my son. We're going squirrel hunting, and then
Love it.
in a week or two after that, I'm going back out backpacking again. So it's like, it's all just, for me, it's just being outside. I've been deer hunting
Yeah.
4 times in the last 2 weeks because deer hunting season, rifle season was in. And
Yeah.
so it's that whole just being outside is, for me, that's the whole point of it all. It's not just about the backpacking, which I love the backpacking, but it's just the fact that you get to be out there and enjoy creation. I just think it's wonderful.
Yep. And you think about it, like, let's go 100 years ago. They didn't have the term bushcrafting, or, like, it wasn't bushcrafting, ultralight backpacking, none of that. It was just Tuesday. It was just what they did.
Right, right.
Subsistence living, just going out and doing the thing. And so it's just interesting how our comfort has created all these labels and things we live under. And I think a lot of people kind of like would call themselves, I'm a backpacker. I've gone long trails in tents, and that's what I do. And that's fine. But if you ever get curious about doing some, like, tarp camping, definitely try it out.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you want to make a primitive shelter and then sleep in it with some high tech gear so that you're comfortable, make it a good experience. You don't have to be, does not have to be miserable.
Right.
I love that. I saw that you were taking your son out, and you were all about, this is the first experience. Going to make it comfortable. If he wakes up
Yeah.
in the middle of the night and wants to sleep in his own bed, that's absolutely fine. And that kind of happened in your video. And I think instead of making it like, I've driven to places and taken my wife with me and have made her miserable. I've he
And he's
makes
not
fun of me.
lying. There's video proof of him making his wife cry. I
Yes,
mean,
and I
there's
the
video proof of it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, he makes fun of
Oh,
me, and because she's cried on, I think we're batting probably like 20 for 20 on these overnight trips. And then we done the Camino together, and that was great. That was, like you said,
Yeah.
you get some of the modern technologies, like it's
yeah.
kind of parallel to the bushcrafting, but adding in some modern technologies. So that's kind of more her speed, but it looked like the advice that you're giving, you're pretty consistent with, because you've done the same thing with your son. What was that like?
Oh, it was an awesome experience. Like, it was just precious, right? Very, very cool. Love that kid, and love the way he thinks. And he, to this day, says that time was camping, that he loved camping. He loves camping. And I'm not going to tell him otherwise. It was camping to him. And
Yeah.
one day we'll make it through the night, but I don't really care when that comes, as long as we're able to do what we did. So it was fun.
I know with my kids, we've gone camping several times now, and actually got my wife out camping, which I still to this day can't believe we pulled off. But the kids just love it, man. They love being outside.
Yeah.
Now it's definitely bougie kid camping, you know, bringing the toys. We take my phone and we watch a movie when we go to bed at night.
Nice.
You know, it's not what I would do if I was out with Jeremiah, you know, for 2 nights or something. But the kids are out there and they're starting to fall in love with being out there. And the more I can get them out there, the more they're going to want to be out there. And, I think the fact that you're out there doing that now is fantastic. I love seeing dads taking their kids out. Now, weren't you,
Cool.
I think you're the second or third guest that we've had on that was part of the Backpacking with Your Kids Summit.
Oh yeah.
That was going on
totally.
a few weeks ago. Yeah. So what was it that you taught during that?
Knives for kids and fires for kids. So how to introduce knives and fires to your children safely, so they're not burning the house down or cutting themselves too many times, right?
Or burning down their shelter and getting hypothermia.
Or down their shelter. Yep.
Woo, buddy.
Yep. Love it.
But no, I mean, I just love hearing more about parents that are getting their kids out, because the reality is, like, most kids nowadays are just so busy playing video games all the time and they're doing stuff indoors.
Sure.
Kids just don't go outside anymore. And if we can get a new generation of kids who fall in love with being outside, I just think it's better for kids in general.
Yeah. Yep. I don't think it's just an old guy thing to say. I think I really believe that it is better. Yep.
Yeah. And I'm the old guy, so I can say that, you know, like, I am old. But you guys aren't old. I'm 50. So, I mean, by some people's...
You're not 50.
Oh, yeah, bro. I turned 51 in like 2.5 weeks.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah. So, oil of Olay. That's my secret.
That's the stuff.
Turns back the clock, man.
I want to ask you guys, I don't think we've ever talked about this on the podcast before. And maybe that's for a good reason. Maybe this is totally ridiculous and dumb. I don't know, but I want to hear y'all's opinion on this, both of you. This is like a parallel lane to backpacking and hiking and camping and stuff. And it's the stealth camping. I don't watch them, but I keep seeing these videos of, like, I stayed at a rest area for 1 week and camped, or I stayed behind Walmart for 3 days. I was trespassed. Or
do you want to hear the best one that's happened in the area here where I live?
Oh, you have
Oh, I've got a great one. If you want to hear it.
I don't know anything about this, but I want to hear y'all's opinion and stories on it. So, John, I'll let you go first.
Okay. Four high school kids, right? And they were just always in this Walmart. There's this Walmart, and they were always in this Walmart all the time. And the people that were there just were like, why are these kids always here? Mm-hmm. And then one night, I gotta put this up real quick. I got a super chat from Ben McMillan. $16 from Ben McMillan. John's AARP membership dues for 2025. I appreciate it. I've already paid my dues for that, but I appreciate it, Ben.
That's amazing.
I'm not gonna lie to you. The moment I turned 50, I signed up for AARP. You get lots of coupons, man. And I am frugal. So, anyways, so they kept wondering what's going on with these kids. Well, the overnight stocking people one night were stocking things, and they heard something. The kids had gone in between 2 aisles that had end caps and had taken beds and all this stuff from Walmart and built a living room bedroom in between 2 of the aisles in the center part. They had TVs, beds, sheets, tables to eat at. They'd been taking food, and they'd been eating the food in there. I mean, they were living there for 4 days.
Wait a minute, inside the building?
Inside the Walmart between 2, because you know how the aisles are. The aisles are real wide, and then you've got end caps, and it's a hollow area in the middle for some of these aisles. They had gotten in that hollow area and lived there for 4 days.
They should start a YouTube channel, man.
I'm telling you, and the guy that told me runs security for this Walmart, and he told me we wanted to be mad at him, but we were more impressed than we were mad. I mean, think about that.
For sure.
That is
For
just
sure.
crazy. That's just crazy. I don't know how they pulled that off.
That's awesome. That's like some kind of idea I would have had as a kid. Ridiculous. Yeah, that's the whole stealth camping thing is really, really interesting to me. Like, Steve Wallace, big time on YouTube, does these stealth camps. I don't understand the legalities behind it. It's not something that I would want to.
They just found a patch of woods behind Walmart or McDonald's or something. Is that what they're doing? Are they homeless? What is this?
It's like I don't think that these people are necessarily homeless. They just want to show that they can do this stealth camping, and I don't think that it's legal per se. I don't think anybody's
I know it's not
enforcing
legal. I know for a fact it's not legal.
You won't see me doing any videos on that. That's for sure.
Well, that's a shame because I think I would really enjoy those.
I would enjoy making them, quite honestly, but I'm not going to put that out there for the younger generation to pick up on.
So I will tell you this. I've got a guy. His name's Jim Hendricks. That's actually his name. And he's not a dead guitar player. He's a guy that lives in Germany who's from the U.S.
Okay.
But 2 years ago, I think it was 2 years ago now, he sends me a message on Instagram and he says, "Hey, can we get together? I'm in Lexington, Kentucky." And he goes, "And if it's too weird, I won't do it. But would you be willing to get together and have lunch with me and my wife?"
Oh, nice.
And I was like, "Sure, I'll do it." I made sure I had a friend with me, to be safe, because I was like, these people could be murderers. I could die. So I brought a friend with me. But Jim came over and his wife wasn't able to make it. It was just him. But we sat down and we had lunch. And he explained to me that in Germany, where he lives, backpacking is only for a season. And in the wintertime, you are not allowed to backpack or camp anywhere. And so the only way you can camp is to stealth camp.
Wow.
So I think it's just different for different places. You know what I mean? Like, there's some places you just can't camp.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know it was just for a season. You know, I was in the Camino, and part of our trail family was 3 of these German people, 3 young ladies, and they had walked from Germany to where the Camino started. So like it took us 6 weeks to walk it, but they were a group of friends that, have been friends through middle school, high school, or whatever you call it in Germany, primary, secondary, all that. And then started walking from the town that they lived in. At this point, they were 22, 23, 24 years old, something like that. And then walked all the way there. So by the time that my wife and I and the rest of the group had met these girls, they had already been walking for who knows how long. So maybe they were just hopping in after the winter season ended. That's unbelievable.
Right.
How do you even enforce that?
We're getting some comments about the stealth camping thing too. Let me pull a couple of these up real quick just so we can keep this going. It says, in the UK, wild camping, it's basically stealth camping on private farmland is what they do out there.
Secretly.
Doc Watson said for him, stealth camping is going far enough off trail that you don't see or hear other hikers. Shane Wolf said stealth camping in Area 51 cancels itself out. So
I'll make that video.
I will make that video with you. Like, let's make this happen. Let's go to Area 51 and let's go backpacking.
For sure.
Andy Ackerman gave us a super chat and said, "I had my truck unloaded Rocky Balboa. Parents were fans."
Oh.
So there you go. But here's another question: is squatting in REI considered stealth camping? First in line for the garage sale buys.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I was going to tell you guys on the Area 51. By the way, just learned this. It was on Twitter or X, so it has to be true. But confirmed real. There were so many people that were content creators that were driving out there to do videos for Area 51 that they had to I don't remember what percentage increase. It was a substantial increase around all borders of Area 51 that they pushed everybody out to. Because you probably saw the videos, and they even had I think PewDiePie helped blow it up. I can't remember. It's some huge YouTube star. It's like, we're all meeting at Area 51 on this date. And so you just continuously had a stream of people. Yeah, and I think he's from Sweden or Finland or something like that. So, he wasn't going to Area 51, but Anyway, they totally expanded the border. So according to Twitter, 100% confirmed, Area 51 is real, and the aliens are coming to get us.
Yeah.
Nice.
My age is being called into question, man.
Yeah, the AI. I keep seeing these AI comments on John. Like
the AI comments are in there, but then we're also getting like John's only a couple years younger than me. John is only a few months older than me. I have gym socks older than John. I don't believe that.
Oh, wow.
Gone Farrell Squidly, sir. I'm not sure I believe that one because I know who you are and you're not that old. Ben McMillan, he made the comment about AARP, said it's $12 for your first year, $16 for renewals. Just guessing with a smiley face. So I believe Ben is also an AARP member like myself. So and then of course use AI to go to Area 51. So yeah. So go ahead, Jerry.
You think that we can ask Gordon about this Ice Age trail before? I mean, we're getting toward the final segment of the show, but
I think we should.
Yeah, dude, I see that you have done quite a bit of this Ice Age trail, and I personally don't know too much about it. And I was wondering if, like, you shuttle or what, because it seemed like you would park and then hike and then walk back, and that seemed terribly inefficient to me.
It's horribly inefficient.
But
Yeah.
I'm just curious, what is the Ice Age trail? Where is it? What is it? Why are you doing it? And what's it been like so far?
Oh man, so a few years back, I did about 540 some miles of the Ice Age Trail. It's over 1,000 miles long, and it winds its way through Wisconsin. It's a national trail, so it's a footpath, but the catch is only about 60% of it is trail and about 40% of it is roads. So to through hike it is a big bummer. So they don't have all the land purchased yet to connect it all together as a single contiguous footpath. So if you're going to do the whole thing and be called 1,000 miler, then you got to do all those roads, which is a real big bummer.
Well, here's a question for you. Now, I may be wrong on this. I've done a little bit of the trail, but does it connect up with what is it? The
North Country Trail?
North Country Trail. Yeah, does it connect up with that at some point?
Actually, I don't know because the section that I haven't done is that top section. Yeah. And I don't know what's up there. I don't know if it runs parallel to it at some point. It seems reasonable because it does make like a loop that goes across the northern part of it and goes then west. So it could be just some of it is.
I'm actually typing it in right now to see what happens. Let's see what AI tells us. AI says, yes, the Ice Age Trail and the North Country Trail are close to each other and are both managed as footpaths for pedestrians. Nice. They run close together, but it doesn't look like they actually connect.
That would be too efficient. Yeah, no.
Yeah, why be efficient? I mean, that's just silliness altogether. I think it's interesting how many long trails, though, there are right now that are looking to expand. The Sheltowee Trace here in Kentucky is actually looking eventually. When I talked to the director for the Sheltowee Trace Association, the real hope is that 20, 30 years from now, it connects from the Gulf of Mexico to Lake Erie.
Very cool.
That it becomes another one of the big long trails. Right now, they're expanding it further into Tennessee, and I believe they want to connect it up with the Buckeye Trail in Ohio. So that's kind of the plan they're doing with it. I know some of these other trails are doing the same thing. They're all trying to expand and connect, and eventually they're all just going to be the American Perimeter Trail. It's just going to end up being 57,225 miles, and nobody's ever going to be able to hike it. But I do think it's cool that they're all starting to like expand and add, and it's just a really cool thing.
Yeah, it is. It's very fun. And they're doing a lot of like trail magic and a lot of events and really cool stuff at different segments. So there's a lot of ownership for the communities around one of the segments of the Ice Age Trail. And so you can just kind of see a lot of the community get behind them and keep the trails up, do nice improvements on them, trail magic, all kinds of fun stuff.
That's cool. Somebody actually, Stoned Ape Adventures, just said the North Country Trail is expanding to the AT, which I know it goes all the way over to New England. Like, I'm pretty sure it does anyways, the North Country Trail. And it's like over 3,000 miles, right? North Country Trail? 4,800. Okay, so it's almost 5,000 miles. Wow. That's a long trail.
It's amazing.
Pretty ridiculous. Yeah, I say we just connect them all and call it the Infinity Trail. And then anybody that wants to be a perpetual homeless hiker, they can just live on the trail forever. They're willing to do it. We can fund it. That's what
that
I
sounds
think.
good.
So
I want the show to connect.
There's a question for you, Jeremiah, real quick.
Yeah,
David Cooper wants to know if they connect it to the AT, can Jeremiah still say he hiked the long trail?
I'll forever be a long trailer.
Yeah, I mean, Woodall Trail just wants everybody to know. Jeremiah did the long trail if you didn't know. So,
I never did send in my official. You had to like keep a trail journal or document it somehow and then turn it into the Green Mountain Club to get your certificate. I think I'm probably the only one in my trail family that didn't do the certificate.
Yeah, from what I hear, Jeff Peters says that Jeremiah's hoping that the long trail will connect to the Camino.
Across, yeah. Yeah. They turn me into Jesus. I'll walk across the water. We can connect the long trail to the Camino. That'd be amazing.
There you go. There you go. So Gordon, real quick, we have this thing that we do every week, and you've probably heard it if you've listened to past episodes, but we always ask the question, do you have a good poop story?
I do.
Oh,
of course I do.
Can we hear
Yes, absolutely. So the catch is that it's not mine, but it is good.
We're okay with public shame of other people. That is not a problem for us.
Okay, all right.
Bring it on.
So this guy goes out deer hunting, camping, deer hunting, and he has to go to the bathroom in the woods, as you do. So he's managing to do this, long story short, he finishes the act and starts off on his walk. So he's doing some walking to get from one spot to the next, and he just keeps smelling. He just keeps smelling it, and he's trying to figure out why he keeps smelling feces, human feces. And he's looking around, he can't find anything. Like maybe he got on his boot, nope, not on his boots, nothing like that. Keeps walking. At least an hour or two goes by, and he still smells it. He doesn't understand what's going on, and it's almost like it's getting worse. Well, come to find out, like, I have to back up and tell you what he's wearing at this point in time. He's wearing a blaze orange, like onesie type thing, like the hunters, and with the hood, right?
Oh no.
So what homeboy did?
I know where this is going. This is bad.
He pooped in his hood.
Oh.
Right in there. He decided to carry it around with him all day.
Oh my goodness.
Tell me you got a knife and cut the hood off. I'm telling you, I would have taken a knife and cut that hood off. I would have burned it in the fire, and I would have gotten rid of it, man.
What other choice do you have?
Oh my gosh, that's awful. But that is a great story. That is a great story.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
This one of your hunting buddies, this really was you, wasn't it? It was you. You were the one.
I can't confirm or deny.
Wasn't it me? He says it wasn't me.
The moment you said he was wearing a onesie with a hood, I was like, oh, I know where this is going. I know right where this is going, man. Oh, that is rough. That is rough. Well, do me a favor. Can you let everybody know how they can find you online? If they're not already subscribed, what's wrong with you people? The channel's awesome. Your shorts, and I just want to give you a plug real quick. You have some of the best shorts on YouTube, period. Not just in backpacking, period. Your shorts are hilarious. And you did a lot of Dan's stuff back in the day, and it's obvious who was editing those videos and was putting those together, because your shorts, they're unreal, man. They are fantastic.
Appreciate that. That. It's fun making them. It really is. It's fun poking fun at all the different stereotypes in the outdoor world. So, yeah. So how can people find you? Oh, it's Grim Granite. So Grim space Granite on any of the socials. You'll find me. I'm embarrassingly easy to find. So, yep. I appreciate you guys following along and checking stuff out. Yeah.
Man, this has been a lot of fun. And
it has.
we got to have you back on it sometime. I mean, there's no doubt about it now
Absolutely.
because I feel
Happy
like
to
we
be on.
only
Lots of stories, man. Lots
we
of stories.
scratched the surface, Jeremiah.
I know,
We didn't
dude.
even talk about the missile base. We didn't talk about the missile base or my time with the DoD as a contractor or anything like that. No,
Yeah, I have
there's
it
so
on
much
here.
more
The
stories.
military contract. We'll definitely get you back. I want to hear more
Yeah.
about these kids losing limbs and digits and people pooping on themselves. We got to have more.
Yes,
Absolutely.
but thanks for being on, Gordon, man. You've been awesome, dude. If you don't mind hanging out in the green room for a little bit,
Appreciate you.
and
Yeah,
we'll chat with you in
sure,
just a
absolutely.
few, man. Thanks
Sounds
again for
good.
being
All
on.
right. Yep. Take it easy, guys.
How awesome was that, Jeremiah?
That's good. Clever storyteller too. I
Man.
love the poop story. That was genius. Waiting on the outfit.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah. Shane
Yes,
Wolf
good
over
job.
here, what he just simply said, leave the hoodie at home. And
Yeah,
Ben
what's the
McMillan,
logistics?
absolutely the best videos, big fan. So that's awesome.
What's the logistics on that? You just unzip the top and flip it down, and then all
He
of a
must have
sudden,
left the hood sticking out. Someone gone feral squilly said new trail name. What do you call him? The poop hoodie.
oh, there's got to be one better than poop hoodie, right?
Or I don't know, man. That's a pretty good one. I'm just saying. Oh, and I do need to let people know. Somebody asked the question. So why did John disappear? Okay, so last week, this is kind of sad actually. So we'll just go ahead and get this out of the way.
Oh my!
Yeah, last week I talked about us getting our new dog, Gary, and we were so excited and we love him and we still love him. But this week we started realizing that he saw my 6-year-old son as his competition. And he started getting snippy and started biting at him. And tonight he actually bit him on the ear pretty hard and then pulled away as he was biting. And we had to take Gary back. And so my very sad children and wife were actually taking Gary back to his foster parents. The kids were in tears. They were upset. And I told them when they got home, I will get off of the podcast and go get hugs and say goodnight to the kids and make sure they're all right before they go to bed. They're in bed now. Everything's good in the world. But it was a rough night in the Kelly household, so I had to be a dad for a little bit. Normally, I don't have to get off the podcast for anything, but tonight was a little bit different situation. So there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving. Well, we decided, and then I will say we've decided as a family we're going to get a puppy after January. We adopted this dog, and he just wasn't ready for little kids. So it's just one of those situations. I mean, he's fine. My son is fine. We just decided it was best to let him go back to his foster home and maybe find a home where he's got some older people to live with. And Ben McMillan, to be clear, Gary is not the kid. No, my son's name is Jack.
Yes.
So thank you for the clarity on that, though. That is important to notice. So Jeremiah, this is the final live stream of 2024. We will still be releasing weekly podcasts every Wednesday. So the podcast is not stopping, but we are going to be not be doing any more live streams after tonight until February. Is that correct?
Yeah, usually we start back around Valentine's Day, but who knows what the future holds? Maybe it's sooner. I don't know.
We'll have to see. One thing we will tell you is that the first week of January is the 5-year anniversary of the Backpacking Podcast, and we will be doing some celebrations throughout January, February, and March. We're going to bring back some of our biggest, most listened to guests to be on the show with us, to talk about what they've been up to, to kind of find out what they've been doing since the last time they were on the show. To celebrate a little bit, we will probably be doing some giveaways because we like to give stuff away. We're just going to have a big party. We're actually going to do something different too, in that some of our Monday nights, instead of it just being a live stream, we're going to have pre-filmed episodes where we are going to live premiere them and be in the chat room with you guys, chatting it up, making fun of ourselves during the podcast. So, going to change things up a little bit starting up in January. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, I never have done a premiere in my entire time on YouTube. So
I haven't
I'm
either.
excited to see what the future holds. But one thing you can guarantee is you will definitely continue to get content. We produced episodes now, like John said, for 5 years, and there's more to come. Thank you,
243 episodes at this point.
Yeah, and I'll say seriously on the not just comedic timing there, but we are thankful. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. We're thankful for you. Thank you for listening to the show, supporting the show, being here with us along the way. And we'll continue to keep producing the content. And we just want to say thank you for being here with us.
Yeah, the fact you guys have stuck around with us really says something about you guys. Either you're lost in the head or we're actually entertaining you. We hope it's the second part, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's the first part. But with that said, no, we love you guys. We're thankful for you. Have a great Thanksgiving. Spend time with family and friends, and we will catch you all on the next one.